Today, we're going to talk about why some people take months to get the best kind of financing and why other people can get that in a matter of a week or less. We're even going to talk about funding you can get in 72 hours or less, and funding you can get approved for in credit lines you can even get in 24 hours. So everything that you need to know to get the fastest access to funding, money to grow your business, we're going to dive into today. We got a lot to cover, so let's dive in. All right, so look, this is what I found. Being an entrepreneur, when we need money, we need it now. Typically, most of us tend to be on the reactive side of when it comes to getting capital, meaning that when I know I want to go get a loan and when I know I want to go get a credit line or a business credit card, it's usually because there's something I need to get with that money. Most of us are not properly preparing for money before we actually need it. So how do we get the money we need, like when we need it, like money on demand? Well, it really starts I'm going to go probably cover two different areas here. First of all, is preparing yourself to be ready to get that money quickly when you need it. And the second thing is, how can you get money quickly? What is the type of funding that's actually available? So before we dive in, I just want to remind everybody, go to milliondollarbusinesschallenge.com. If you're interested in building your business to 7 or 8 figures, we are having a 100% free event that takes place Monday through Thursday of next week. And it's all about how to build $1 million business. We bring people in to teach you branding and marketing and how to get the capital that you need. And I mean, everything that you need to successfully build $1 million business. We're bringing all the experts, all the gurus in to break it all down for you. And you can go to milliondollarbusinesschallenge.com. That's milliondollarbusinesschallenge.com to be part of that. Okay, so if you need to get money now, you need to be prepared to get that money. And let me give you an example of what I mean. On my desktop, I have a folder called financing. And what that folder is for is everything I'm going to need to get financing. Now, look, I got to be honest, I got really deep insight compared to most people out there because I've been in financial services for going on 25 years. I've owned a mortgage company. I've spent time with consumer financing, consumer credit, commercial credit, business loans. So for me, I understand. I have a very good grasp on what lenders are going to look for. And I want to teach you that right now. Because if you know that, just like me, you're going to spend less than 3 minutes a month just updating what needs to be updated. And whenever you need money, everything lenders are going to ask for, you're going to have. And that's the biggest thing that slows down financing. Through my career, a lot of people have asked me, how long is it going to take? How long is it going to take to get this mortgage done? How long is it going to take to get a personal loan? How long is it going to take to get a business credit card, a business loan, a business credit line? And my answer has always been the same, 100% the same. That depends on you. It's 100% dependent on you and how quickly you get the things that are needed to get the loan done. Because what I find is that lenders actually tend to, in a lot of cases, move fairly quickly, quicker than most people give them credit for. The problem isn't typically the lender or the loan program. The problem in most cases is the borrower not being prepared for what the lender actually needs to see. And then all of a sudden you get an email from the lender and they say, hey, I need this thing, and it's the middle of a work day and you don't have time to get that thing. And so then that delays it another day because then you're waiting till the evening or a break in your schedule where you can actually get that thing to them. So the first thing to do is to get in their head and understand what they want, why they want it, and then have that stuff at the ready for them. So let me give you some examples. Anytime you get a loan, they're going to need your ID. Get a copy of the front and back of your ID and have it set aside in a folder ready for financing. Get a copy of your passport as well. Sometimes they need a secondary identification. That's something that oftentimes they're going to be asked for. You should know your EIN number. In my financing folder, I have that letter from the IRS. And let's be honest, that's helpful. You know how many times I need my EIN number and I don't remember it? I should remember this thing and I don't, right? Probably because I own multiple businesses like you probably do. So I have that EIN document from the IRS scanned and put in the folder. Articles of incorporation. No matter what your entity type is, whatever it is that you got from the Secretary of State, you're going to need it. So go ahead and put it in a desktop folder so you actually have that at the ready. And by the way, as you're starting to see, a lot of these things you're going to need are commonly need for other purposes other than just getting financing. The next thing, business bank statements. Most kind of financing, most kind of merchant statements, most of what you're going to need, sometimes insurance-wise, finance-wise, or merchant account-wise, you're going to need those banks. So have 6 months worth of bank statements at the ready. It's easy to do, right? When I log into my bank account, you do too every single month. And usually at the end of the month, I'm logging in, I'm doing my checkbook, I'm doing that stuff. It takes me less than a minute to download my bank statement for that month and that moment that I'm in there. Less than a minute. So every month I go in and I download that bank statement, I put it in the folder. folder. And I always make sure that I have at least 12 months worth of bank statements in that folder. I do the same thing on the personal side. I do the same thing on the business side. On the business side, you're going to need those for most kind of financing. On the personal bank account side, you're going to need those for financing like SBA, your better types of financing. So make sure that you have the things set aside that you're going to need and the lenders are going to ask for. The next thing, have a profit and loss statement prepared. Look, the reality is, as business owners, sometimes we don't want to know the numbers. We just want to plow ahead. It's our natural personality. But the reality is, knowing your numbers gives you a huge advantage. It helps you cut expenses where that are needed or increase revenue in areas that are needed. So you should at least get a profit and loss statement created every quarter. It's way simpler and faster than you think. And at the end of that quarter, when you have it, put it in a folder on your desktop so you have all of that information available. Next, let's look at your business assets. And by the way, if you're just coming in, tell me where you're coming in from. I want to give you a shout out here on the stream. Next, let's talk about your business assets. A lot of lenders, you can use those assets as collateral to get financing. So what is the asset that you actually have? Do you have stocks, bonds, 401ks, IRAs? Do you have equipment? Do you have inventory? Whatever asset you have that can be pledged as collateral to get financing, always keep the most recent statement of that thing in a folder on your desktop where you know it's going to be needed. So for example, if I have a lot of inventory, well, then I can leverage that inventory in my business to be able to get a credit line. So I'm going to want to have the most up-to-date inventory list that I have accessible to where I can easily get it to a lender. So this is just a basic idea, but a lot of these things, even sometimes a utility statement for your business to prove your address, a lot of those things are going to be asked for. So get those things together once. You don't need to do it again. And some things like bank statements, you're going to update regularly. And that literally gets you about halfway through the process of being able to get money quickly. Now, once you have that, the next thing that we want to do is we just want to make sure that we make this as easy on lenders as we possibly can. So what I mean by that is you want to make sure that you actually come in and that you actually tell lenders or have lenders see what you want them to see. So what I mean by that is that knowing what the lenders are looking for and making sure that you have all of those things set up the right way goes a long way to helping you get money. So first thing is businesses are going to look at your just basic foundation. I talk about this a lot. Make sure you have an entity set up. Make sure it's not a sole proprietorship. Have a separate address for the business, a separate phone number for the business, a separate professional website, a professional email address for the business as well. If you can get a business license, get a business license. You need to make sure all the information on all of your stuff is congruent. The name of your business, the address, the phone number should be the same on your bank statements as it is with the Secretary of State records. And get your checks or get your LexisNexis credit report as well. It's 100% free for you to get. And LexisNexis is where lenders get all of their information from. Get LexisNexis. That's going to tell you what lenders are going to have a problem with. So for example, if SBA says, hey, have you ever been convicted of a crime like a felony or a misdemeanor? You might instinctually say no. But you might have thought about some dumb thing you did when you were 18, 19, 20 years old. This has happened to me. So go ahead to LexisNexis. Look at it. It tells you what all that history is that lenders are going to see. Okay. Do you have experience in your industry? LexisNexis is going to show that you do have experience in your industry. If not, expect to provide a resume or something that does show that you do have the experience. Do you have judgments? Do you have collections? Do you owe people money? You may think you're safe because it's not on your credit report. You're not safe. The reality is LexisNexis shows every one of those throughout your entire lifetime. If you had a bankruptcy 50 years ago, it would show on your LexisNexis credit report. If you had a judgment 30 years ago, it would show in your LexisNexis credit report. Look, if you don't know my story, I had a mortgage company that failed. I built it, and mortgage crisis occurred, failed, lost everything. And I actually almost filed bankruptcy and fought my way through it. And as a result of that, I had about 3 legitimate judgments. Now, those are off my credit report, long gone. The credit issuer never pursued me. I thought I was home free. But the problem is those showed on my LexisNexis credit report and had to be paid as a part of getting an SBA loan. And the problem with that is that cost me a lot of time, right? Then I had to go out. I had to go to find out who handled the judgment. I'd have an attorney involved, and they had to contact the person. We had to find out what the settlement amount was, how to get it paid. It literally cost me 2 months of time with getting that SBA loan. If I would have just looked at my LexisNexis credit report, I would have seen that the lenders would know about that judgment, and I would have been ready to explain it, or I would have been able to show them, look, I know this is there from 10 years ago. I already have paid it. Here's the proof. I already have a payment arrangement, whatever it may be. Now, the other thing is you could dispute on LexisNexis and get that stuff cleared up before you even apply. That's one of the things you should be doing. So if there's any problems on your LexisNexis credit report, you should be disputing and getting that fixed before you even apply for a loan. That's going to save you time. If you can't get those disputed and fixed, then at least know what's on there and know the lenders are going to ask for it. If I go to get an SBA loan, they're going to ask me to pay off every judgment that I have. So if I have something from 20 years ago that still shows on LexisNexis and it's not on my TransUnion, I'm still going to have to pay it off. By knowing that ahead of time, trying to dispute it being denied, knowing I have to pay it, it still gives me an opportunity before I apply for the loan to go to the actual credit issuer, whoever the judgment is with, and get it cleared up. So knowing that when I go to get that SBA loan, it's not going to slow me down. So there's a lot of things on LexisNexis that can create issues for you. And by getting LexisNexis, you know what lenders are going to ask for. Have you ever had a license revoked? Maybe I had a mortgage license. Maybe it got revoked. Lenders are going to want to know about that. So it helps me to say, hey, look, letter of explanation, just so you know, back in the day, I owned a mortgage company, had my license revoked for this reason, and I recovered it from it, learned my lesson, and now here I am today. Having that stuff at the ready is going to make this super smooth when it comes time to getting financing. The second thing is what is the fastest type of financing you can get right now? Well, there's three main types of financing we're going to look at. Financing is based on your cash flow, your credit, or your collateral. The fastest type of financing you're going to get right now is based on your cash flow. Revenue lending, merchant cash advances, PayPal, Square, Stripe. Even when we look at financing through places like Bluevine or Fundbox, that is very fast financing that you're able to get right now. That kind of financing is money that you're able to get typically in 72 hours or less, sometimes 24 hours. So by having consistent revenue for 6 to 12 months, that is going to be the fastest way for you to fund the business. Now, when we expand out from there, the next fastest is using some kind of asset as collateral. Stocks, bonds, 401ks, IRAs, equipment, inventory, even cryptocurrency can be used as leverage to be able to get business financing. If you're using some kind of asset to get asset-based lending, it's called, you could typically get that money in 2 weeks or less. Now, the third longest is credit-based financing. And this is typically like credit lines that are based on your personal credit, like credit line hybrid. Those takes about 3 weeks to get. And an SBA loan can take you about a month or longer if you didn't do the things that we talked about in the first part of this training. So if you want the fastest money, then go and bank on your revenue. Look at revenue lending. Look at merchant cash advances. Look at PayPal. Look at Square. Look at Stripe loans. Okay. Now, if you have a little bit of time before you need the money, 2-3 weeks, then look at what assets you have that can be pledged as collateral, or see if you have good personal credit or someone around you does. That opens up that next length of time of funding, which is about 2 to 3 weeks. And finally, if you have all those documents together and everything you need that we talked about in the first part of the training, then you're going to be positioned to get an SBA loan. They typically take about a month. But if you do what we talked about in the first part of this training, we successfully get SBA loans in about 1 to 3 weeks. About 1 to 3 weeks because we have everything at the ready. And if you do that, it's going to help it make it easier and quicker for you to get the money as well. So I just wanted to spend a moment with you today, and hopefully you got a good idea on the fastest path to be able to get funding. It really comes down to 2 parts. Making sure, for one, you have everything ready that lenders and creditors are going to ask for. The IDs, the licenses, the articles of incorporation, the bank statements, the P&Ls, have all that stuff at the ready. The second thing is know the type of financing that's the fastest. Financing based on your revenues, the fastest. Based on your assets or collaterals, the second fastest. Based on your personal credits, the third. And based on everything, like an SBA loan, is the fourth. If you just follow those 2 tips, having everything ready and knowing and applying for the funding that will get you the fastest result, then you're going to be in the position to be able to have the fastest path to being able to get funding. So hopefully you got a lot of value from this training. If so, like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out $1,000,000businesschallenge.com. That's our 100% free event. And at $1 Million Business Challenge, we're going to teach you everything you need to know to build the 7- and 8-figure business. Again, from people that have done it. from 7 and 8 figure people that have built those businesses to teach you things like branding and marketing and how do you get the money you need to grow the business, how you use LinkedIn, how you launch podcasts, everything you need to know to run Facebook ads and Google ads and build yourself as an actual influencer in your space. All of that we're going to cover by experts at this 100% free event. So make sure you check it out, milliondollarbusinesschallenge.com, and make sure you like and subscribe. Keep your eye out for our next training. We're talking about more cool ways to get the money you need to start and grow your business. Thanks.